What's going on? It's Franco, elun. Obviously, I'm in the building, so I am bringing back the show. I've had a couple of inbox messages, a couple of text messages. Not a lot, but a significant number, to the point where I was like, maybe it's the time to bring it back. No, people have been anticipating the next show. So I know it's been a minute, but I'm the type of person where I like to put things out into existence. Literally, I have to do it, let it sit for a minute, then I'll come back and tie up the loose ends. But the intention was to always bring it back, So from the outside looking in, it may seem as if I'm starting a whole bunch of stuff and not finishing. And to an extent, some of that may be true, because I always feel like I'm not obligated to finish anything I don't want to finish. If I don't have the energy or the passion, I'd rather just use my time more productively on something else. And I don't owe anybody an explanation for that, and I don't think you do as well. A lot of folks like to say, "Stick it out, man, just do it." Now, you know what? If I ain't feeling it, I'm not gonna do it. Straight up. You know what I mean? It's your prerogative. Do how you feel. But I am a one-man team. My son, he has his gaming show, so I shoot and edit that. I make beats. Looking to create more content. I want to do a web series. So I write. So I'm a one-man intern. I'm learning the different functions behind the scenes. So eventually I want to build a team up so I can effectively communicate and delegate these things. But without me kind of knowing the background on each position, it'd be fairly difficult for me to do those things effectively. Because the ultimate goal is to build up a team and hire other black folks with real salaries and real benefits. You understand what I'm saying? There's no need to build up a black business if your intention is not to hire other black folks. What's the point? You're really just trying to enrich yourself, and this is a collective thing to me. So right now I'm just doing my thing. I'm learning everything, increasing my quality. But, a couple of years from now, we're going to be all the way up. You know what I mean? But yeah, speaking of black business, there's this thing that we need to leave behind, right? And that's pity marketing, shame marketing, right? This whole, support me, I'm black, I got a family to feed, support my business. Or, the shame version, right? Or they line up and they buy Jordans and they go to Gucci and they spend all this money, but when they come to me, they act like, they don't want to do nothing. You know what? Kick rocks. Let's kick that back to 2005. Let's let that go. Okay? Shaming folks for not buying your products is not going to get you over the hump. In fact, it's going to create a whole lot of resentment. Right? That's the first thing we want to lean on. We black owned, support a family. That's going to get me one time. I'm going to spend money with you one time off the fact that you black and you got a family, and I feel you. You'll bring me in. I got you. But I'm a consumer, right? I have a threshold. I have a standard. If you're not meeting those standards and that threshold consistently, I'm going to move on. Okay? You simply being of the same hue and having a family is not going to compel me to spend money with you all the time. It's not going to work. What am I buying into? What is your value proposition? What type of culture surrounds your brand? What are the intrinsic benefits of your brand? What are the tangible benefits of me buying your brand? If those things are not satisfied, I'm not going to be a repeat customer. Okay? Come on now. We got to get better. We got to understand what marketing is. We think it's going on Facebook or going on Instagram and doing a couple of posts, cracking an algorithm or two, buying some ads. We good. No, marketing is a huge undertaking, a massive function with a bunch of sub functions, right? bunch of knobs you turning. You're mixing a big cake. Different ingredients. Sometimes you got to take out. Sometimes you got to add a little more in there. It's deeper than that, right? When I get on Facebook and I share a post, I'm not fooling myself. I know I'm not marketing. I'm just trying to create a little bit of awareness. I got a whole degree in marketing, Georgia State University. So I look at things differently. I evaluate things differently, right, than what the normal layperson would do. And that's something we just got to get away from. We have to understand what marketing is. And if you want somebody on your team, I can point you to some people who can help you craft a story around your brand, who can create value, right? I can point you in the right direction. But we have to start taking marketing seriously. It's not a game. At least budget money out to have that done for you if you don't want to do it yourself, because it is a massive undertaking. But one of the things that we have to get over is, well, part of that shame marketing comes from us not understanding our true position in this country. We don't understand that we lack the wealth and the capital necessary to even be in a competitive space when it comes to business. We lack that. See, these other companies, they have the resources, both social and monetary, to understand who their consumer is, how they tick, how they operate. And by understanding that, you understand how to communicate and how to get inside their brains. It's almost like Inception. It's bigger than marketing. It's more so propaganda. That's why people feel compelled to line up and buy Jordans rather than come and spend a small amount of money with you for your product or your service. You don't have the brand equity, right? That's not to say you cannot get brand equity. You cannot create brand equity. But going about it by comparing yourself to these brands, that's not going to get you there. Not by a long shot. That's unfair to you and unfair to the consumer. Because again, these companies have millions of dollars in research and development and marketing. And they have a security net. So if they do miss on a campaign, they fine. They can always rebound. You, on the other hand, you can't afford to make those type of mistakes. You can't even afford to run a campaign of that magnitude. Scale down. Get to know your customers from your level. Find out ways to communicate more effectively with your people. Find out who your target is. Understand who your target is. If you're a black business and you want to have the black consumer as your main consumer, you need to temper your expectations. See, part of the problem is some of us are more upset that we can't make money off black folks like white folks make money off black folks. We want to exploit just like they exploit. And you can't crack the code, so you get upset. Well, I'm going to change my clientele. Black folks always want the hookup. Black folk, this, that, the third. You got to get away from that. You got to get away from that. That's a lack of communication between you and your consumer base. You don't know how to talk to them, so you get frustrated. You got to get away from that. We've been fooled, and we've been tricked into believing we have $1.2 trillion in buying power, and that is not the case. Buying power only measures consumable goods and income. Those are things that we purchase on an everyday basis, not things that accumulate in value. And that's just a fancy way of marketers trying to figure out how much a market is worth and what they need to do to finagle their way into that market and extract those funds. That's it. That's all buying power is. There's really no power in consumption. That's a fancy name. What you need to measure is wealth. And we only own 2.6% of the private wealth in America. You divide that up amongst 40 million black folks, you don't have a lot of money to go around. The stratification is far and few between Of that 2.6%, the top 10% of our people, black ADOS people, or just black people in general, own 75% of that. So you got about $2 trillion that's owned at the top. That's not trickling down. Everybody else is fighting over crumbs. So that's why we asking for the hookup. We feel like we should know each other's condition. Yeah, we're going to ask you for the hookup. No, we're not going to ask white folks for the hookup. We're going to ask you because you know you come from us. So you should know why we asking you for the hookup. Now, that don't mean you bow down and give folks the hookup. But what I am saying is, which leads me to my next point, how are you pricing? Is your pricing based off of, well, I'm going to charge what I'm worth. I know my worth. I know my value. No. And that's commendable, but you don't decide what your worth is. The market does. The consumer does. If you have a particular price point and you're not rendering any type of services, nobody is fooling with you, you may want to reconsider your price point. You may want to reconsider your worth and adapt to the market. Are you looking at what your competition is doing? Are you gauging the market trends? Are you seeing what's going on in the business environment? Do you have a justification as to why you're charging that much? What are your margins if you're selling different products? Take a look at your margins. You may want to take a loss on something to get folks in. You understand what I'm saying? And then maybe mark up some other stuff and make your profit that way. Maybe loss lead. You understand what I'm saying? It's a lot of things that you can do. I'm throwing out general information, but I'm just saying, how are you pricing your stuff? Because we got this thing